I cannot believe that this is happening. In less than 1 week, we are moving halfway across the country to build our own plane.
This has been something that we have been planning and hoping for like over 4 years. We've been looking for a plane, and just this last year we finally found one, and it's happening. I still don't know how to pull a rivet. Erin probably still can't swing a hammer.
I can barely put together IKEA furniture.
We want to do this story justice because it is a very long story, and it is a big story in our life that we'd like to share with you guys, so you have a bit more understanding of actually where we were and what got us here. So we thought we'd take some time to actually show you the full thing.
Yeah, this didn't just happen overnight.
I think a lot of our story starts 5 years ago on our honeymoon. I went a bit overboard. I had a ton of credit card points and I wanted my honeymoon to be insane.
Our honeymoon.
Our honeymoon to be insane. And it was 2 months long. We got to go to 7 countries and just really explore and have a lot of new experiences.
This was the first time I had really ever been out of the country, and when Paul told me he was planning a 2-month-long honeymoon, some people would be super, super excited, but I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work, bro, especially when he told me we were gonna be campervanning for a good portion of it.
So about a week into campervanning in New Zealand, I have this vivid memory of us having dinner overlooking this beautiful lake at sunset, having a glass of wine, and Erin was like, Paul, I think I want this to be like our life. I don't want this trip to end, and I want to continue exploring.
So when we got back home to California, Paul started up a travel nurse assignment, and it was in the middle of peak COVID, and everything was obviously shut down. There wasn't a ton of things to get to do around us. But the one thing we did have going was Paul had just gotten his pilot's license.
Dude, those were literally some of the best times too. Like, everything was completely closed, but Erin and I got to go to the airport and like have the freedom to go and explore the coast of California when everything else was like completely shut down and nobody could travel anywhere. We loved going to Oceano Airport. They had bikes. We could go up into Pismo Beach and like have clam chowder. It was just like a really fun time to explore, and I think that's ultimately what got her, you know, like easy access to clam chowder.
True. After California, we moved to Arizona for Paul's next travel assignment, and that is when I started working on getting my pilot's license. It was during this time that we started doing some fun weekend adventures, and we would rent the plane and then go camp somewhere, go on some fun weekend flights. And it was at this point that we started thinking about buying our own plane, but we had no idea what we were going to be looking at. Paul honestly started doing most of the research because I was just like, I think low wings look pretty.
And to be fair, when I was like bored in the middle of the night nursing, I was like on Trade-A-Plane in the deep, deep hole that website is, and I was just going through all these different planes. I remember this conversation I had when Erin started her training. The owner of the flight school, he's very knowledgeable on airplanes. And I remember having this conversation with him. He's like, what's your mission? And I was like, well, I want it to be fuel efficient, go fast and far, and I don't want to be limited by anything. Like, I want it to kind of be able to land anywhere because, well, I don't know what Erin and I want to do in the future. And that was the extent of our mission at the time, and we didn't have like this clarity yet. And so we looked at Mooneys, and Mooneys were a great option for us. Late last year though, we ended up going to Utah and doing our tailwheel training, and that ruined us.
Ruined us.
Like, there was no going back after that. So it was after getting our tailwheel, we knew we had to have one, and it really shifted my focus in what planes I was looking at. So Mooney was no more for us, and it really transitioned to a Cessna 180, 185. But even that, like, it had its drawbacks. We offered on a couple, but what we found was there was a lot of like damage history because these are old planes. And then every plane we'd offer on, there would be a couple things where we're like, okay, we love all these things, but it has a new wing, or I don't know. Like, there were things on it that I was like not 100% on, and none of our offers ended up panning out.
We also had some friends at this point encourage us to look into experimental aircraft, but I did not want to get us into that big of a deep, dark hole of learning to build a plane.
And taking 2 to 3 years to build a plane didn't sound fun to us or realistic.
So to us, it was never really on the table. And it wasn't until OSH this past year where we actually considered it.
OSH was a game changer. We went into the Garmin booth, and I remember a friend of ours mentioned that he put a deposit on a plane. And when he mentioned the name of the plane, we had never heard of it. Honestly, like, I didn't think a ton about it at that point. I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool that you bought a plane. It was Friday that week that as Erin and I were walking the flight line, I see out of the corner of my eye this booth of this plane manufacturer that he mentioned. So we walk over to this booth, and they have an exhibit plane out there. We'd never seen one of these before in our lives. And I start reading the spec sheet on it. 3,000 pounds max gross, takes off in 200 feet, lands in 200 feet, 1,600 pounds useful load. I'm just like, what is this beast of a plane? And it's experimental. Like, this didn't make any sense to us.
No.
We got to sit in the plane. We met the owners of the company. So after looking at the plane at OSH, we went home
And Paul went on a deep dive.
dude, every single video about this plane online, I watched.
And that's when we decided we gotta go out and fly this plane ourselves.
Please scan your items. When you're finished, select the plane.
So about a month later, Paul and I hopped on a call with the owners of this aircraft company. We're sitting on the floor surrounded by so many people. Everyone's like gambling around us. And we're having this call asking when is a good time for us to come out and get to fly the plane. During this call, everything was just clicking. We clicked with the owners. We learned that they had this build assist where you could come and a professional can help guide you through building your own plane. After that call, I was getting so emotional because it had been years that Paul and I had been looking for our own plane, and after making offers and getting rejection, I was just starting to, I don't know, like feel disappointed and just lose hope that like maybe we're not gonna be able to find like the perfect plane for us. But after that call, I just felt so much excitement and also like hope that I think this could be it.
I think the more I think about it as well, like for a long time, this is me talking to you, like for a long time we had talked about wanting a plane that could take us anywhere. And this plane literally could do the ocean crossings.
Yeah.
It has everything you would need for credit. And they even said that.
They said that on the call. They're like, if you wanted to take it around the world, you could with this plane. And it's like, that's everything else. All the other planes we were looking at, we were like, okay, we would need to add in these like fuel tanks or like, I don't know, we'd really have to like be conscious of weight. I'm sure we still will for like this plane with ocean crossings, but it's like actually doable. Oh God, so good.
I think honestly, like this just reminds me a lot of like God's timing, not ours.
Yeah.
So we hang up and instantly we book tickets to get ourselves to Oklahoma City to fly for the very first time the Bearhawk 5.
Dude, I'm quiet right now because they're just like taking everything in. This is so crazy. They're kind of wild airplanes, man, because they're fantastic cross-country airplanes, and you can just shove stuff in them, but if you keep them light, and, you know, I mean, you can follow Super Cubs into just about anything they're going into. That's wild.
That weekend was so fun. We didn't just go out and learn to fly the Bearhawk. It was a weekend of adventure. We went camping, we landed on a sandbar in the middle of nowhere, stayed up so late every night just talking and dancing, and just this weekend gave us a small glimpse alone of what adventures this plane could take us on.
So at the beginning of the weekend, right after we landed, we're all about to unpack the airplane, and Mackenzie looks over at me and makes a comment. She's like, wow, guys, you guys could almost like live out of this thing. Like, there was so much stuff in the plane. And then after that, Erin and I like
have a little side eye going. We're like, you might be on to something there.
Mom, should we sell our house already?
Like, guys, are you homeless again?
Yeah. So throughout the week, Paul and I kept coming back to Mackenzie's comment about us living out of the plane. And it got us thinking back to our honeymoon in New Zealand, where we had that realization of we wanted to live this life of adventure and live this life on the road. And we saw all these attributes with the plane and also all these desires for our future start to combine together, and all because this plane made it kind of possible.
Yeah, so it was at the end of that week that Erin and I told Virgil McKenzie, like, hey, this is definitely the plane for us. 100% we're moving forward with you guys. And now we're 5 days away from going out and building our own camper plane. We don't have a lot of things to go off of because we haven't found any other planes that have done this before. And so we're kind of coming up with things ourselves. Over the past several months, we've been like pen to paper sketching a bunch of things of how the camper plane idea can work. So our ultimate goal for this plane is for it to be a backcountry off-grid machine. Like, it can go anywhere, and that's what we're super excited for. So most people buy these aircraft, they come to them in a semi to their garage, and then they build them from a kit into a plane. Erin and I definitely don't trust ourselves enough to do that.
Definitely not.
So Bearhawk has what's called a build assist program, where they have mechanics working full-time in their shop in Fairview, Oklahoma, just building these planes.
Technically, we don't need to be out there the full time, but Paul and I want to understand the ins and outs of our plane. I think they really only need us for like about 2 weeks, but we are moving to be a part of this whole process, and we leave in less than a week.
So in 5 days, we're hitting the road to go to Fairview, Oklahoma for 6 months to build our Bearhawk 5 under the very close supervision of the guys at Bearhawk.
We're so excited for this whole new journey. We're gonna be posting on here every Sunday documenting the plane's progress from us getting it as a kit, seeing it next week, all the way through when it is a full-on camper plane.
We would love for you to subscribe to follow this story with us. There's so much that we've already planned and we have planned for the plane itself that we really look forward to sharing with you guys, like our paint scheme, what's the interior gonna look like,
Yeah.
the engine, the prop. There's some fun
The
things going on.
shower out of the wing.
Yeah, there's some things that we're really excited about that we look forward to sharing with everyone, and yeah, we can't wait to get this plane going and get on the road and have some fun stories to come. See you guys in Oklahoma.
I'm gonna go hang with the cows now.
And we didn't think much of it. We don't record in public very often, so this is like really, it's pushing us.
Is this our baby?
14-hour drive.
Plane prego?
We texted our parents after we bought the plane, and we were like, hey guys, we have some big news. When we called them, my mom and dad were like, what's the news?
They thought we were pregnant and we're so disappointed.
They didn't even care about the plane. They're like, wait, so you're not pregnant?
All right, how do you end a YouTube video?
Do you just walk away?
Peace out, Buttercup. See you
Bye.
next Sunday.
Bye.
Ka-chow! Ka-chow! Ka-chow!